Hello everyone, welcome to the Autoimmune Dietitian YouTube channel. My name is Annie. I'm a registered dietitian and I work with people struggling with autoimmune diseases. In my work with my patients and clients, I help them use food and lifestyle as a way to improve their symptoms and hopefully get them feeling much better than where they started. So today we're going to talk about the why behind elimination diets. Elimination diets are the gold standard when it comes to uncovering food sensitivities. And this is important for autoimmune disease because most people with autoimmune diseases have food sensitivities due to intestinal permeability. Food sensitivities trigger inflammatory cascades that can make your autoimmune disease worse. Therefore, doing an elimination diet can be very helpful for your healing process. So here's what they are, why we do them, and how to do them properly. Before I jump in, just need to attach a disclaimer to this video that the information in today's talk is not the substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only. Please consult your qualified health professional for any changes you make to your medical care. So before I jump into elimination diets, let's first briefly mention food sensitivities. One way food sensitivities happen is when the intestinal barrier is compromised. This is known as intestinal permeability or leaky gut. Leaky gut is one of the commonalities across most autoimmune diseases, some would argue all. It can exacerbate or trigger these diseases to become active. So when the intestinal lining is not intact, harmful things can sneak through the lining and trigger an inflammatory reaction. In the case of food sensitivities, undigested food particles can make their way through the lining of your intestinal tract and trigger a reaction. And this is because the immune system doesn't recognize these particles and they think they are invaders and harmful to the body. Once the body mounts an attack on these food particles, it remembers them. So every time you eat that food, your body will launch an inflammatory response against it. So why do we do elimination diets? Well, we do these so we can remove the potentially harmful inflammatory foods from your diet so your body stops attacking the food that you eat. The harmful food is removed for a period of time and then reintroduced to see if your tolerance to that food has changed. There are a number of different types of elimination diets you can try. The most well-known elimination diet for autoimmune disease is the Autoimmune Protocol, or AIP. However, the goal with any elimination diet is symptom improvement. So do your symptoms improve after the removal of these foods? If yes, then it's time to figure out which foods are causing you issues. And this is known as the reintroduction phase. Adding back one new food at a time helps you figure out which foods might be an issue for you. This can be a long and tedious process, so patience is really key here. And you really just need to kind of stick with this phase the best you can. It is generally recommended to work with a dietitian so you can decipher any potential reactions and plan out the best course of action for reintroducing foods. So how do you best execute an elimination diet? So the first step to any elimination diet is figuring out which foods to remove and for how long. Once that's established, pick a time to do this diet. Ideally, you want to do this separate from any travel or upcoming social engagements, as eating out can be a challenge. When you are ready to do the diet, plan on being 100% compliant for the elimination phase. This will give you the best results for symptom resolution. Granted, people always make mistakes. They accidentally eat something, or they happen to have something thrown at them, or they have to go out. Totally fine. You don't have to throw away everything, but the more compliant you can be with the diet, the better it will work. And when you feel like your symptoms have improved enough to tell a difference between the before the diet and after the diet period, then you can start reintroducing foods. The reintroduction phase also needs to be a well thought out plan. Have an order in which you plan to reintroduce the foods, and generally it's best to go from potentially least to potentially most reactive. Okay, so here are a few tips to make your elimination diet successful. For best results, make a point to be as compliant as possible with the elimination phase. Remember, it's a short-term diet only and should not be longer than the specified time frame. And by that, I mean ideally 4 to 6 weeks. If needed, 3 months, absolutely no longer than 3 months. If you have been doing an elimination diet for 3 months and you are not seeing any improvement, it is not food that is causing you the issue. So best to start digging down other rabbit holes for that. Keep a symptom journal to track how you feel. Many times the improvements aren't as obvious as you would expect, especially within the first week or so. Many of my clients find that things they didn't even think were bothering them were actually bothering them. So it's things you don't expect to happen. So you gotta just really be mindful and be observant of your body and how it is feeling, and notice those small changes. Make a plan before you start the elimination phase. Have an idea of what your meals will look like. Stock up on any snacks you might need. Meal prepping in advance is a great way to be prepared. The number one reason why people fail on elimination diets is because they are not prepared. So don't be that person. Try to limit social engagements, especially if your elimination phase is very limiting. Eating out just opens the possibility for unwanted ingredients or cross-contamination. And then lastly, this is the one that people don't do, but I think is always very helpful, is ask your community for help. When you live with an autoimmune disease, you're exhausted, like beyond recognition. It's exhausting to just get up in the morning for most people. So whether it's a partner, a family, friends, tell them what you're doing and why you're doing it. I'm sure you can find people who'll be more than willing to pitch in and help you if they know about what you're doing. So generally speaking, elimination diets are a great way to lower inflammation, figure out what your food triggers are and your food sensitivities, and hopefully, remove them for a period of time, with the goal of being able to eat everything at some point in the future. Once your intestinal lining heals, you should be able to tolerate all these foods again for the most part. So that's really the goal. And, elimination diets, again, can be extremely effective, not only uncovering food sensitivities, but also lowering inflammation. So if you would like more help doing an elimination diet, maybe you're stuck on the reintroduction phase, maybe you just haven't even thought about diet in terms of your autoimmune disease, please reach out to me. You can book a free discovery call through the link that's in my YouTube profile. I love talking to people and just giving them, some support and advice. And, if you feel like I'm a good fit for you, we can move forward and work together. That would be great. But if not, just please do reach out. It can hurt to reach out, is what I'm saying. If on my website too, AnnieRubin.com, I have a bunch of free downloadable materials, ranging from my top anti-inflammatory foods to, how to detox, to the AIP modified guide. So lots of great free resources there. If you don't follow me on Instagram and Facebook, those links will also be in the text of this post, so you can follow me there. And then lastly, if you want my weekly newsletter, it comes out every Thursday to your inbox. You can sign up for that, the link in my YouTube profile. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.